You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts.
Hey.
Hello. It is time for Love Yourself episode 15. And I have, once again, a lot to talk about. And so I'm going to dominate.
I didn't know how you were going to finish that. Once again, what?
It could be so many different things. But I will be dominating the conversation today. So
yes,
too
please.
bad if you had something to talk about.
No, I mean, anything that I had to talk about were some follow-ups on some stuff that you suggested, and I'm just here to back those up. So we can do that later.
I know. I want to hear about the things that you have watched that I recommended.
Yes.
Or seen, or whatever it is you watched or read. Or
You'll see.
Well, I'm going to start off with some books, as usual.
Okay.
And once again, all over the place. They couldn't be more different, but all enjoyable in different ways. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I'm on sort of a horror kick. I don't know if there's just more horror kind of novels coming out. It's not my normal genre, but anyway, so I or maybe things are just being recommended to me and I'm just blindly going along with it.
Sure.
But so there's a new novel, actually a novel in 6 novellas that's coming out by Josh Malerman, who wrote Bird Box, and the movie was based on that, and which was really a terrifying concept, that book and the movie. This one is called Goblin. And not as subtle as the other one. There's some intriguing parts. It's very much more like traditional scary circumstances.
Okay.
And almost Edgar Allan Poe like in the way that some of these stories are written. Yeah. So one of the stories is about, I guess they're all connected by the fact that they're in this town called Goblin.
Okay.
At different times in history.
Cool. I like that.
And the town is weird. There's something weird about it, but and the characters remark on it, but they don't do what I would do and move away.
Yes, they're just like, I live in a town called Goblin and weird stuff happens.
And that's just how it is. Yeah. Oh darn. But yeah, so for example, in one of the stories they talk about that the police that patrol the town, there's something off about them, that they're kind of slow moving, or it's like there's a hint that they're maybe undead or supernatural or something. And
not human is the thing that concerns me.
Yeah, no, not human. And once again, why would you stick around there? I don't know. So
maybe they have really good friends that live there. Great shopping in Goblin.
It doesn't sound like it's actually that great of a town otherwise either.
So what's the appeal, right?
Yeah. So there's like a Twilight Zone edge there, where anyway, it's intriguing. If you liked Bird Box and like this author, you might like this one.
Cool.
The next one that I read is called Fragments of a Mortal Mind by Donald Anderson. And it's like a cross between nonfiction and fiction and reading notes and like stream of consciousness a little bit. But it's like the stream of consciousness of a writer who's like sort of talking to himself. It's not just like Faulkner kind of stream of consciousness.
Right. Whatever pops into my brain.
Right. It's he's sort of, one topic will lead to another, and it's sort of loosely connected in that way. And then he'll drift into stories from his life. kind of like a memoir. But
Mm-hmm.
then he says that, he makes the stories more interesting by just making stuff up. And
Nice. At
yeah,
least own that, you know.
yeah. And then, for example, he recounts this one time where he tells his wife something, and then he writes in his book or whatever it was that he was
Mm-hmm.
presenting, her response to him, and she hears him
Mm-hmm.
read this at a reading one time, and she's like, I didn't say any of that. And he said,
Uh,
I know, but you should have.
right, right. Oh, I love that. That's funny.
Yeah, so it's he's an older gentleman who
Mm-hmm.
has been I think he's a writing professor at the Air Force Academy, I want to say.
Huh.
Yeah, so he, has been in the military, but he's also, this literary background. And so it's a
Right.
it's an interesting sort of mashup, and some parts of it are really beautiful, some parts are funny.
Mm-hmm.
Um so it's very unusual. So if anybody's interested in that kind of thing, I would say give that one a chance.
Cool.
um, Fragments of a Mortal Mind, and it's all of these these first two that I talked about. They're coming out soon,
Okay.
not out yet. And then a third book that I reread recently, or actually
Mm-hmm.
had read before several times, and when I listened to it, is
Nice.
called "Girl in Landscape" by
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Lethem, and I'm pretty sure I know I've talked about him before. He's one of my favorite authors, and every book that he writes, it's like a whole new. He just jumps to completely different genres, and he's always surprising.
Nice. Oh,
Doesn't
that's great.
Yeah, it doesn't always hit perfectly, but
But
um,
he's doing it.
he is doing it. And there's,
Mhm.
he's done some of the wackiest, like sci-fi, fantasy, and then, but it's always very postmodern and
Mhm.
metafictional. Uh, so, Girl in Landscape is about a family on Earth who they're moving to another planet. They're gonna like,
I hate it when that
as you
happens.
do, you write wear out your welcome here. You got to go somewhere else. And so, but that is kind of what it is. That the girl's father has lost an election,
Uh-huh.
a political election, and so he decides that he's going to take him to this other planet and sort of do this experiment
Hmm.
with it's hard to explain, but
Okay. Okay.
it's a very sort of detailed world that they're going to, um, and the creatures, I guess you would say, the aliens that live
Uh-huh.
there, live to be very, very old, and they
Uh-huh.
have all of these traditions and stuff that they have actually turned aside. And this politician, is going to go there and try to partake in those. And it's sort of like an experiment in creating a new world.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if he was gonna run for office on this other planet.
I think he's thinking he's just going to go, take it over, or, not,
Right. Okay.
but
Okay.
in a,
Well, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's
cool.
really interesting. And anything that I see by him, and whenever he has a new book come out, I always get it because he's great.
Cool. Love it.
And so those are the books that I've read in the last week. And I have also watched a couple of movies, which
Fun.
I'm on a roll here watching movies again.
Tell me. Yeah.
And so I watched Nomadland with Frances
Yes.
McDormand. It's on
Yes.
Hulu. And it's based on a book by Jessica Bruder called Nomadland: Surviving America in the 21st Century.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Frances McDormand ever since the first time I saw her in anything, in Blood Simple, which was her first movie.
Yes.
Uh,
Was that the is that an early Coen Brothers?
yes.
Or yes.
Yes.
Nick and I watched that and I can't remember if it was because you recommended it or if we just found it, but we watched it within the last several months and I really loved it and I loved her.
Yeah.
Love her forever. Yeah.
Yeah. She's sort of a femme fatale character in that, and it's that's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
But she just gets better every year,
She
and
does.
I'll watch her do anything.
I know.
And this movie is about a woman who sort of in the in a recession loses everything. Her husband dies,
Mm-hmm.
and so she just like kits out this bus and travels around and
Okay.
goes to places like work in factories and shipping centers for like for Amazon.
Uh-huh.
And so it's a very kind of slow paced film. There's not
Yeah.
like, there's not lots of intrigue or anything, but
Uh-huh.
it does give a real window into this lifestyle. And the
Sure.
the interesting part is that as she's traveling, she meets all these other people who are doing the same thing. And
Mm.
so they kind of seasonally meet up in places where they're gonna find
Cool.
jobs, and or she'll do things like be a park ranger, that,
Uh-huh.
or they have those temporary ones.
Yeah.
Um, so it's good. Um,
Is she was she nominated? I think she was nominated for a Golden Globe for that, but was she nominated for the Oscar as well?
I think so.
I do too. That
I
sounds
would, I
familiar.
can, yeah, I'm, and she certainly deserves it, I would say.
Yeah, great. Well, yeah, I definitely I want to watch it. I couldn't decide, my intrigue was definitely just based on the Oscar buzz and Frances McDormand
Yeah.
specifically. But yeah, I'm going to give it a watch for sure.
Well, and that's why I watched it because
Yeah,
in
yeah.
fact, I had it on my list for a while, and I, just kind of wanted something to zone out to over the weekend, uh,
Right.
and that functioned very well for that.
Cool. Okay, good. Good to know.
Then I watched another. Again, I'm all over the place. So the next movie I watched is called "I Care a Lot" on
Yes, this is another
Netflix.
one I've been wanting to ask you about.
Yes, and
I haven't watched it, but I think I told you that Nick specifically asked if you had watched it because he wanted to know what you thought before we watched it.
yes, well, good. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's about a woman who, and it's the same actress who was in the main character in Gone Girl,
Hmm.
Rosamund Pike, and
Yes.
she plays.
Lovely, lovely person,
Yes,
actress. Yes.
yes, brilliant. And she really brings it to this one too.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
she played a woman who has a business being a caretaker of
Hmm. Hmm.
the elderly. So if an elderly person is deemed incompetent, or they can't take care of their finances or whatever, she'll step in, and she's often um, actually required by the court to
Hmm.
take over their care. But
Right.
you find out pretty quickly that she's got nefarious schemes about that,
Yeah.
and so she takes advantage of these people. But then she finds this one who she thinks is going to be a cherry, I think is what they call him, something like
Right.
that. That is just really wealthy and not like super ill or anything, so could
Uh-huh.
probably live for a long time, which is what she
Uh-huh.
wants. She wants to drain these people over a long
Ah,
time,
I see.
and but she uncovers something that she wasn't expecting.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
and I'll leave it at that because you definitely
Okay.
don't want to have anything spoiled. But she
Right.
meets her match, I guess is the way to put it.
Okay. Well, and for some reason, this reminds me of something else. And for some reason, I kept going back to Bernie, the movie with Jack Black
Mm,
and what is her name? My mind is blanking. I guess it doesn't really matter.
no,
But,
yeah.
um, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's just because it's a younger person taking care of an elderly person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I kept kind of, I don't know. Those reminded me of each other.
No,
But
yeah,
anyway,
I can see that. It takes a different turn in this one for sure.
right, right.
But yeah, no, and it does bring up a lot of stuff. In fact, I find that whole concept horrifying. I that
It's
the worst.
So awful. Yes.
That you're an you've lived your whole life, and then for whatever indeterminate years you have left, you're at the mercy of somebody,
Yes, you've lived
anybody.
your whole life putting up with, the everyday stupid stuff
Yeah.
your whole life. And then, this person comes and takes advantage of you, and I don't know, your family, I'm
Mm,
sure, is involved, and yeah.
yeah.
But like, I mean, it seems like kind of a dark comedy. Is that how you would classify it?
Yes, I would say it is
Okay.
a black comedy.
Black. Straight to black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not, it's not, no shades of gray in there. It's
Okay.
pretty dark. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Well, again, I'm intrigued, and I think she won the Golden Globe for this. So, got another, yeah. I don't know if she's nominated for an Oscar or not, but anyway.
Yeah. She does an amazing job, as do the other actors. So
Cool.
definitely check it out.
Excellent. I will.
Then I watched a documentary which
Hmm.
was so nostalgia filled for me. It's called
Oh my
The
God.
Last Blockbuster, and it's on Netflix.
I've been wanting to watch it.
And it was so much, because I mean, that was, I don't know, it's part of everybody's upbringing and their lives. It was, going to
Hmm.
the local video store, but I feel like it really was like something that I did like multiple times every week.
Yeah.
And not just a Blockbuster, but any video store. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's about how that industry rose and then fell apart, and then
Hmm.
they go to the last existing Blockbuster. I think it's in Bend, Oregon,
Hmm.
and they're just keeping it alive there.
And it's still going,
Yeah,
right? Man.
and
Is it hipsters? Is it hipsters that are keeping it alive?
I'm sure. But actually,
Yeah.
the woman who is the manager has been
Uh-huh.
there, like, she's older than me, so she's,
Oh, really?
yeah, so she's kind of like the uh she's been working there for, I don't know, 20 years or something like crazy,
Oh,
and just stayed. But
just passionate about
that's right.
Blockbuster. Who can blame her?
No, I mean, come on. Uh,
Oh, cool.
well, and then let's see. I started a series called The Irregulars on Netflix, and
Hmm.
I don't know what I think about it, but it's sort of this oddball offshoot of Sherlock and Watson. Yeah.
Yes, I watched the trailer and never made up my mind
Yeah.
about how I felt. Just, well, like the whole time through the trailer, I was just kind of, yeah.
I feel that way after a
So,
couple of episodes. Like, it's
uh-huh.
kind of the term that, like, I remember being used, like watching
Hmm.
the X-Files, is monster of the week, where it's like,
Oh,
you
uh-huh.
you get introduced to these characters, and then they find something supernatural or whatever, and they defeat it, and then the next week there's something else that.
There's something else.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So yeah,
Okay.
we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted it to be good. Like the way the summary and sort of the way it
Hmm.
looked. But yeah, I can't decide either. So you still have me intrigued, so I'm sure I'll still
Yeah,
check it
and
out.
it's another one of those where it's set in an actual historical location, but
Mm,
they don't completely talk like modern people, but there's a lot of that in there. They don't really stick to like what the
mm,
language would be like, or that kind of thing.
right, right.
Or even it's like some of the characters, many of the women wear dresses, but also with pants and just stuff like that would
Mm.
never happen. Um,
Right.
so it's kind of, I don't know. I'm one of those who, like, we've talked about Bridgerton and stuff like that, where I don't know if that's for me. You know, I
Right.
think it's just like an alternative universe, sort of. So yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know. It depends. I have to kind of embrace it for what it
yeah,
is. I feel like I almost approach things like that on a different, I don't know, it's a different level than something that I actually like. That sounds really, really like uppity, but
No, I get exactly what you mean by that.
okay, good. Because I mean, I don't know. There's a different. To me, there is a difference in like, yeah, I'm enjoying this, but I'm not like a
Exactly.
fan. I don't know. I
No,
don't know. It's
yeah.
a fine
It's a
line for sure.
diversion. You'll watch the series, but you're not going to like rush out and go tell everybody, come on here and be like, go see this. It's the best thing ever. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I will take it.
And let's see. Then I saw there was a, getting into these true crime things again. There was a
Mhm.
2020 called Finding Kelsey, which I think was the most frustrating documentary to watch that I've ever seen. It's
Oh my
about
gosh.
this girl, and it's just so clear from the jump who killed her. Like, and
Ah.
then things just keep happening in the justice system, and just maybe like
Oh.
not great police work, and so it's years before anything gets solved.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And one of those where it's not, I don't know, it didn't take a long time necessarily because they just had
right,
nothing.
no, they
Okay.
had like video and uh just all kinds of
Uh,
stuff, and plus the motive, and it just so much,
mm-hmm.
and it was so frustrating.
Uh,
Very different from the
that
one that
breaks
we
my
talked
heart.
about last time that
Yeah, which
we can jump into.
I can
Yeah.
follow up on. Yes, I watched it's a 2020 episode Crystal mentioned last week called Stranger Than Fiction. It's the murder of Angela Dodge, is that
Angie Dodge.
correct? Angie Dodge, yes. And I mean, so horrific and horrible as all of these stories are. But I mean, it's a really, I hate to say anything positive in, when you're talking about something like this, but the story it's a well told story, I guess. Like they made it, oh man. I mean, you're truly on the edge of your
Yeah.
seat. There, if we're looking at this, as a story, the cast of characters is, I mean, there are truly some characters in there. And um yeah, and it just, I mean, it has a, not happy, but happy considering the circumstances ending, which, you're satisfied,
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Well, good. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, because I thought it was one of the better ones of that kind of genre I've seen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really takes you on a journey, and yeah, I do recommend it. And I found it on Hulu. I don't know if that's where you watched it.
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
I
And
No,
then,
no,
oh, go ahead.
no,
Go
it's all
ahead. Go
good.
ahead. Well, I was going to go ahead and follow up on another thing that you
Yeah.
mentioned last week. Okay. So you said that you've been rewatching The Killing, which you have said this is on Netflix, but it's also on Amazon
Hmm.
Prime as well. You said that, I mean, I don't know, you brought this up to me a long time ago and you were like, I can't believe you've never watched it. And I can't believe I've never watched it. I just finished season 1 last night, and really wish I could have kept watching season 2, but Nick had just finished doing schoolwork and it was his turn to enjoy watching something. So I had to end it at the end of season 1, and they really leave it on a cliffhanger. Um, but it's a great series so far. It has kind of, I don't know, a lot of tropes that you see in shows like this, but I like where they take it. It's still unexpected, I'll
Yeah.
say that. And it takes you on, I mean, on a, I keep saying journey, but it is, I mean, you explore a lot of different angles, and you're convinced this person did it, and then you just, I mean, then something happens and never mind, you move on to something else. But I really enjoyed it, so thank you,
As
Crystal.
always, I love it. That's one of my favorite things. The best thing about my job is recommending stuff to people.
Yes, yes, indeed. Well, yeah, really, I recommend both of those.
Well, yeah, that is a great series, and I just started another one that's it's like a dark kind of legal kind of crime procedural, not procedural actually, but
Yeah.
it's called Tell Me Your Secrets, and it's on Amazon Prime. And I've only watched a couple of episodes, but it is real dark.
I'm trying. Okay, I think I turned it on and I watched. I turned it on and did not pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to it. I think I maybe watched the first episode or
That's
two.
funny because I did that first, and then kind of was cooking dinner, doing other stuff, and didn't pay attention. So I started it over again and watched it.
Okay, I think I'm gonna need to do that because I know, yeah, there's a woman in like, is she in a strange
Yeah,
town
she's
or
in like the
something?
witness
Man,
protection kind
my
of,
memory is the worst.
but you
Yes,
don't really
yes,
know everything, and there's lots of like flashbacks, and anyway, you don't know the circumstances that lead to her living that way for for a while.
yes,
So,
yes.
but it is extremely
Wow.
dark, and I just kind of after the couple of episodes I took a break, but I'm intrigued, and the acting is really
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
one of those. Well, cool. I'll definitely, I'll revisit
yeah,
for sure.
I'm definitely gonna keep going with it. And then
Cool.
last thing I want to mention are just a couple of other podcasts that I'm into.
Yeah.
And NPR has Pop Culture Happy Hour, which,
I
yes,
love pop culture
it's
happy
so cute
hour.
and funny.
It
And,
is.
they're always talking about timely things, hint the pop culture part.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, so if you're looking for that kind of stuff, there's usually like, there's different guests on it, and it's great.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Does Linda, because I haven't listened to it in a while, but does Linda Holmes still host it mostly? Do you know?
I'm not good at remembering who the people are, but I think it's a
Okay.
man.
Because down I downloaded a few episodes when I drove to my sister's a few weeks ago, and I don't think she was
No,
hosting any of them, and they were really short episodes, so it makes me feel like they've sort of maybe rearranged kind of how they're doing
yeah, they
it
were
or
not
putting it
long.
out. Right. Okay. But anyway, Linda Holmes used to be sort of the main host, and she reminds me of you a little bit. Like I don't know. I can't put my finger on what it is, but anyway. And I don't even know what she looks like. It's like the way she talks about
Oh,
things. That's
well,
it.
I'll take that. I'll have to see if I agree with that assessment.
Yes, I love Linda Holmes, so it's a compliment.
And the last thing is the podcast called "This Is Actually Happening." And have you listened to these?
Yes. I listened to one episode and I think I told you about it. This was like during the
Oh, yeah, no,
summer.
I remember. I couldn't. I thought I had heard about that.
I listened to one crazy episode and I can't remember. I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
what it's called or anything, but I could tell you what it's about, but I won't because it'll give everything away. But it was
Yes.
really
Yeah.
crazy,
Yes, it was.
really crazy, and great
Yeah. So
storytelling. Yeah.
definitely check that out. It's a different story every episode, and it's the last one I listened to is about this woman, and it is rough going a little bit, some of them, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
about a woman who ends up in an institution, and then she feels like she's trapped in a dream and can't escape, and
Oh
yeah.
my
But
gosh.
yeah, so
Oh
there's
my
lots of
gosh.
there. All of them seem like they're very harrowing, and um, people. It's just things that are so outrageous that people have to remind themselves this is
You have
actually
to,
happening. This is real. Yeah.
this is actually happening. Yep. Yep. Oh
Well,
man. Yeah, I need to revisit that one because it has a lot of
yeah, there's a
episodes, I
ton.
think. Like, there's a lot to choose from. So yeah, I'll have to
Well, we just
revisit.
went right through all of those, so that's all I have for this week.
Yeah, me
And
too for now.
yeah, I'm looking forward to a few more things, and we'll meet back here next week and see what's up.
Yeah,
All right.
sounds like a plan.
Bye.